Hello guys, my name is Diego Pacheco and this will be another Java video. Today we will be talking about a new Netflix solution called DGS, Domain Graph Service. So Netflix released this solution I think this week, and they have a rich GraphQL framework integrated with Spring Boot. And basically they have a programming model that's completely annotation based, which is kind of the standard thing in Java. They provide a way to have tests, like unit tests using queries. They also do code generation with a GraphQL plugin for Java and Kotlin. They have easy integration to GraphQL Federation, support and integration of Spring Security, GraphQL subscriptions for WebSockets and server-sent events, SSE, file uploads, error handling, support for interface union types, client for Java, and pluggable instrumentation. So is quite interesting. And I'm gonna show a very simple demo based on a simple POC I made based on their blog post. So this is pretty cool, and I think it's an interesting solution to keep an eye on it, right? So let's get to the POC, right? Let's jump right into it. So here I have a POC. I'm gonna open my idea. The name is DGS, Domain Graph Service, but I spelled it wrong, DSG, so never mind about that. So this project I'm using Java 15 and also Gradle. So let's start with the build.gradle. And then on the plugins here, we have the Spring Boot plugin. We are using the latest version 2.4.2. We are also using a plugin for dependency management for Spring Boot and Java plugin. Then we have the classical group ID version, source code compatibility is 15 because Java 15. In sense of repositories, we also have Maven Central and JCenter. Funny fact about JCenter, JFrog, the company behind Bintray, is kind of shooting down Bintray, and JCenter is mostly there. So people need to move the libraries to Maven Central, otherwise this can break a lot of builds out there. So funny fact that's happening this week as well. In sense of dependencies, we are using for test implementation Spring Boot starter test. For Spring Boot, we just need starter web. And for DJS, Domain Graph Service from Netflix, we just need the single dependence with this long name called Graph DJS Spring Boot Starter. And we're gonna use the latest version. So that's it in sense of dependencies. This will bring this many dependencies, right? So yeah, in sense of dependencies is a bit bloated, right? But anyway, this is Spring Boot, right? But now let's take a look on the code, right? So in src main resources, we're gonna create a folder called schema, and then we're gonna have a schema.graphql ls, and here we're gonna have our schema, right? So I'm defining a type called show because this is a Netflix. I'm following the example on the blog post. There is a title which is a string and a release year which is an integer, and then the query you're gonna get shows. You just pass the title filter and you're gonna get a show, right? An array of shows, and the schema is pretty simple. Now the code, and I think that's the most interesting part, is pretty cool because it's pretty declarative. It kind of automatically hooks with Spring Boot, and that's really the cool thing besides the a lot of features, right? So let's start with the domain. So we have the show here that has a title and the release year. Then we have full constructor and getters, right? So very simple entity. And then the application, right, is a very standard Spring Boot application. We just have one annotation here for Spring Boot application, and that's it, right? So super, super easy. And we just need one class in order to hook with the GraphQL, right? Which is the show data fetcher, right? So we just need one class fetcher. So we have the show data fetcher, and then we have this Netflix GraphQL Spring Boot annotation called DGS component. Of course, you could be loading data from a database like Mongo or Redis or MySQL, Postgres, but for me, just loading on memory. That's kind of what they have on the blog post, right? So they have the shows like Stranger Things, Ozark, The Crown, Dead to Me, Orange is the New Black. And then that's a list, right? An array list of shows. And we just need one method. It's called shows, right? Which is the query that we see on the schema. And then we have this annotation called DSG data. And we can say what is this, right? We can say, okay, this is a query. And the field is shows. Then we return a list of shows. And we also have an input argument, which is the title filter. And here we have the title filter. Then we just do some validation, because if it does not pass title filter, then we want to return all the shows. Otherwise, we're gonna do some functional programming here. We're gonna do a strings from Java 8. We're gonna do a filter function where we're gonna filter the shows based on the title, right? And then we're gonna get that, and that's it. That's all the code. We just need to run this application. So as you can see, it's very, very, very straightforward. I create a README here, so we can go to this URL, right? So I have a browser here. We can go there. So right now, if I run this, you see there's nothing, right? So let's run. First thing we want to do is to run the application, right? Let's go there. And once the application is running, then we can go to the browser and play with GraphQL. So let's just wait for the compilation, and now we have a Spring Boot booting up here, as you can see. It's the latest Spring Boot, and is using Tomcat by default. And there we go, we have it running. It took like less than 2 seconds. Now, if we go back to my browser, right, we can see that we already have GraphQL console here, right? So I'm gonna remove this, and then on the README I have a query, right? So let's get this query here, and let's put it here. Then we just put the query here. I'm gonna prettify, and then what we're doing here, we're just getting the query shows, and we say, okay, we want to have the title and the release year. And then if I run it, we get all the shows, right? Exactly as we expected. If we want, like, this is like standard GraphQL, I just want the title, we get the title, or I just want to have the release year, right? There you go. So we can pick the data we want, and also we can have the title. If you want as well, we can do some sort of filtering here, like you saw on the code, right? So for instance, let me just remove here for a moment, right? Okay, now I can go again. Let's see if I type O, right? Then we get Ozark and Orange is the New Black, because both start with O. I know we have Stranger Things, then I can type Stranger, and then we filter. So it works. It's pretty cool. Like I said, for me, the only bad thing is a bit bloated in terms of dependencies, but it's pretty cool. It's very easy to get started. 2 annotations pretty much. One for the component, other for the query, and that's it, So very, very easy to use. GraphQL and Spring Boot. Very cool project. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys like it. See you next time. Take care. Cheers.